Alright guys, today Sony dropped their 2025 State of Play, and while there were some good looking titles on it, to be honest, most of it was just pretty underwhelming and caused a lot of uproar online due to the fact that once again, there's a few good titles and some people were massively disappointed by the letdown, the missed opportunities that Sony could have capitalized on that they have yet to do so with. And again, before we get started, I'm not a Xbox fanboy. I don't hate Sony. I never played PlayStation growing up. I did have Nintendos and then Xboxes. So for a while, I participated in the console war, sure. At this point now, I play PC and I don't care. Enjoy the games you enjoy, and eventually they'll probably come to the platform you choose, especially if you play on PC like I do. So that being said, the entire slate is available here from Tech Radar. There's a few that actually look interesting, a few that were kind of just underwhelming, kind of meh, whatever. Some of the ones that definitely stood out to me were things like Lost Soul Aside, a game called, let me see here, where is this one at? Tides of Annihilation, which we'll get into in a minute, which looks very fantastic, really cool. A Days Gone Remastered, which is quite interesting, given the fact that it's not a very old game, and the studio was denied the opportunity to make a follow-up sequel, despite the fact that the game was pretty popular on PlayStation, as I recall. I don't know how it did for sales, but the game was popular. We see a new Metal Gear Solid game. I believe it's a Snake Eater remake or remaster. A game called Hell Is Us. It was kind of okay looking. Lies of P DLC looked fine. Again, there was a lot of things looked fine. We had a Five Nights at Freddy's, Secret of the Mimic reveal launching on June 13th. Split Fiction looked like complete dog crap, same as this Directive 8020. Both these games have a lot of, I believe, woke individuals involved who are definitely trying to push the message through their games. So then we get to, of course, the response from people online about this Days Gone Remastered. Rock Solid says Sony canceled the sequel for Days Gone just to make a shitty remaster that nobody asked for. Sony is just begging to lose money at this point. And I feel like a lot of studios, not just companies like Sony, but a lot of individual studios and publishers are making these same mistakes. Doc Strangelove says be Sony, have record losses which closed several studios down. And again, that's another thing to remember. Sony lost a lot of money in 2024. Just remember that. A lot of their studios got shut down. Their grand solution, remaster a game nobody asked to be remastered. Even Niche Gamer is getting in on this, saying Sony really out here remastering games from a couple of years ago. And of course, Kabrut is pointing out that, and this was actually from a couple weeks ago before the State of Play today, to this date, Sony still refuses to give players an option to play Bloodborne with a decent performance, yet the same Sony is trying to take down one man that decided to give the community what the big-ass corpo didn't. And of course, Lance McDonald is somebody who has had beef with Grums. I don't think that makes him necessarily a bad person. I don't really want to get into the details of all this. He doesn't like Grums. Grums doesn't like him. I don't care. This guy created a mod for Bloodborne that made the game run at 60 frames per second, and Sony shut him down. You can see the tweet here. I guess it's from Blue Sky. I don't know. It says, on February 21st, 2021, I created and released a patch for Bloodborne, which makes the game run at 60 FPS. Today, I received a DMCA takedown notification on behalf of Sony Interactive Entertainment asking that I remove links to the patch I posted on the internet, so now I've done so. And again, people were really hyped, really hoping for Bloodborne. Hypnotic even tweeting out, what are the chances we hear something Bloodborne related for the Sony State of Play, considering the recent DMCA strike on the 60 FPS modder? And no announcement at all. No news of Bloodborne whatsoever. Dr. Strangelove on Twitter says, surely Sony will announce a Bloodborne remaster. Sony about to announce a remaster for a game you don't like. And I don't think that that's fair. I think a lot of people did like Days Gone. I don't think it was truly popular enough to warrant a sequel. But again, I haven't played it, so I don't know. I haven't looked at the actual sales number. Now, as far as this Tides of Annihilation game that I mentioned previously, this game looks quite interesting, quite good. I'm going to mute it just so you guys don't have to listen to the audio in the background. But this is a game that looks like a cross of several different games. People have actually said it's like Elden Ring meets Stellar Blade, which I think could be a winning, fantastic combination. You have a beautiful protagonist. You have what looks to be really high-quality graphics, great gameplay. Just the entire thing looks gripping. It looks fantastic. I'm not going to say the game's not going to suck. It could suck. I really hope it doesn't suck because I really see a lot of merit. I see a lot of potential in this game. So I'm hoping that this is one that when it comes out in June, I believe, sometime around June, I think either that or maybe it's May 30th, I think, possibly. This game is going to be something that is on all the platforms, Xbox, Epic. I think it's on everything, every console except for Nintendo most likely. So Another one, of course, that looked very interesting was Lost Soul Aside, a game that apparently has not been updated, or at least people were not really aware of what was happening with this game for a long time. People were saying they've been waiting like 10 years for this game. I can't imagine it's been 10 years since it was announced, but it very much looks kind of like a Final Fantasy meets Devil May Cry kind of game. Again, looks really sick, looks really cool. These are all games that, if they're available on PC or other platforms, could do exceptionally well due to the fact that the games just look like everything gamers have been asking for the last few years. Again, really cool looking characters, great gameplay, cool story, good effects. You have all those components minus, some sort of lecture, some sort of like ideology that's twisting the meaning of the game into something it never should have been. And I think you have a recipe for success with some of these titles. That being said, something really interesting that I saw from Bounding into Comics says, in a move that Stellar Blade should copy, Lost Soul Asides drops the PSN account requirement for PC release. Now, this PSN account requirement, we have seen, it's a very contentious issue for a lot of people, where they just flat out don't want to have to make a PlayStation account to play games through Steam. And I get it. It's an annoying thing to have to deal with. So apparently this is not going to be a requirement to play this game at launch. This is a huge, huge win for a lot of people. A lot of people who are just like, look, if I'm playing the game, I shouldn't have to create an account just to play the freaking title. If I own it on Steam, let me just play the damn thing and enjoy it, And speaking of Stellar Blade, this is possibly one of the biggest announcements to come out of this State of Play today. It is coming to PC this June alongside the Nikke crossover, and according to Games Radar Plus, it's every bit as horny as you'd expect. Now again, I have to be very careful trusting the media when they use words like this, because again, if they're talking about games like Hades 2, they'll say it's okay to be horny for that game. But again, this game, Stellar Blade, has been at the forefront of the culture war for the last year now, and so of course, Games Radar Plus is going to come out and try to, let's just say, sell it in a less than positive light due to this crossover with this other game, Goddess of Victory, right? So it says 2024's PS5 hit Stellar Blade is finally launching on PC this June, alongside its long-awaited Goddess of Victory Nikke DLC. The news was announced at today's PlayStation State of Play broadcast, which featured a brief trailer showcasing the Nikke content, including a selection of slinky new costumes and what's appeared to be a whole new area. Developer Shift Up hasn't fully disclosed what to expect from the DLC, but appears similar in scope to the previous Nier Automata crossover, which launched for $10. Of course, the bigger news is probably the fact that the PC version is launching in June. That's huge. That is absolutely huge, okay? There's no more specific date than that, and again, no price, but the Steam page is already live and promises that the game will be optimized for PC. And then, of course, this journalist has to do the journalist thing. I shudder to think what the mods are going to look like on day one. Come on, get a life. Stellar Blade was such a hit that its devs gave all the employees a PS5 Pro and roughly a $3,400 bonus, and this horny action RPG isn't even on PC. How many times are you going to put the word horny in this tiny little article, really? Stellar Blade dev says no, it's RPG shooter about staring contests with anime butts, which you will always win because butts don't have eyes, isn't getting a Netflix anime. As our Stellar Blade review notes, this is a solid action RPG worth playing on its own gameplay merits, but it's safe to say more than a little bit of its appeal is down to its attractive protagonist and the array of revealing outfits players can dress her up in. No shit, Sherlock. Shift Up is also behind Nikke, a game that's even less restrained in its horniness. Again, 3 times it said horny in 3 paragraphs. And it's clear the studio knows how to appeal to its target audience. Now, these idiot journalists aside, that part of the reason that this is so significant is due to the fact that they are already putting out articles saying that they expect the PC sales to massively exceed what they sold on console. So think about that. This is a game that already did so well. The studio gave all of their employees for Christmas. They gave them PlayStation 5s. They gave them $3,400 bonuses. And that's without PC sales. This game is going to do record numbers. I mean, hell, I'll probably pick it up in June. I mean, this Father's Day, my birthday, right around there. So why not, That being said, guys, it is funny to see how poorly Sony has performed with their State of Play. But there were some good things to come out of it. I think they deserve all the criticism they're getting, but there certainly were a couple little gems in there that I think could do very well in the future. Curious to hear what you guys have to say down below. Leave a comment, and then again, share your thoughts on the State of Play itself, and of course on Stellar Blade coming to PC in June, and I will catch you guys on the next one.